Hi there everyone, it's Ruth here, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator for the UK and Europe. Today we're going to be looking particularly at blending and sponging colours, and also have a little chat about how to use a colour wheel. Now, Stampin' Up make it very easy in terms of choosing colours because they have very carefully chosen a very good colour palette for us to use. However, sometimes when we're putting cards together or putting colours together, it's just useful to understand how colours work together. Now, if you've ever wondered what a colour wheel is, here is a version of one. And I'll very briefly explain to you how it works. So we have the three primary colours, which are yellow, red and blue. And if you remember from school days what colours mix together to make what, you can see here that red and blue make purple, red and yellow make orange, and yellow and blue make green. And then in between green and blue, you get a greeny blue or a bluey green. And then in between blue and purple, you get a purpley blue. So colours that are opposite each other on the colour wheel are known as, oh flip, I've forgotten the word now. Contrasting. Oh my goodness. Right, these are contrasting colours. So often we see red and green together, particularly for Christmas colours. We often see yellow and purple together, perhaps for sometimes sort of Halloween-y type things. And so those are the contrasting colours. So when we talk about complementary colours, we mean colours that are together on the colour wheel. So yellow, orange and red, these colours here kind of complement each other because they're together on the colour wheel. And you will often see designs where you'll have colours that are, you know, next to each other in the colour wheel. So for example, this card here that I've made has got blue going into like a bluey kind of greeny colour. They would be around here on the colour wheel, but with a little bit of white toning the colour, the depth of the colour down. So this is just a reference to colour. There's also things to do with tone, so you add black or add white, and you've got that aspect too. So I'm going to just demonstrate how to blend colours together that are complementary. And I've got here Night of Navy, Bermuda Bay, which is kind of like, oh sorry, you didn't see that, did you? That's Night of Navy. A bluey green colour, and then going into green and even tipping into the greeny yellow. So just back to my colour wheel, we're kind of like straddling this colour combination here. So if you find this useful, please do go onto Google and search for colour wheel and maybe print off something like this for yourself and have it beside you as you craft and choose colours. So here I've got some sponges that are ready to go. They are the Stampin' Up sponges. They are probably the most valuable and most economical tools in the Stampin' Up catalogue. You get 3 sponges for £3.25, and I cut them into 4 pieces, so you end up with 12 sponges. And then I usually cut out a piece of cardstock with a punch and then just clamp it over and staple it. So it's just easier to use, and also it means that you can label it and put the colour that you're using for that. Now, some of my sponges don't actually look like they reflect the colour that I've used it for. It's because these have had a wash, so they're stained. So this one's stained red, but I actually use it with green. Okay, so I don't want it to confuse you. So for this card here, I wanted to, I've already stamped out a sentiment that's going to go in the middle, and I would really like to have kind of like the dark colour focusing from the centre and going outwards. So I'm going to start then with my light colour going inwards. It's all going to make sense, I promise. So I like to just load up the sponge, as it were, by dabbing it into the ink pad. And I always suggest that you start off the page, because that first touch of the sponge onto the paper can be quite intense and it can leave kind of a strong mark. So I tend to start off and stroke onto the cardstock. So as you can see, the colour's going on really nicely. But we are going to be doing a lot of sponging, and I did this card the other day with my class, and a few of the ladies were going, "Oh, my arms are starting to ache," and it is quite a good workout for the arms. So, but you get the effects, so it is so worth it. Worth putting a little bit of elbow grease into it. So as you can see, I keep having to load up my sponge to get more and more ink on there. But you can see it's kind of going on nicely. Okay, excuse me. Okay, next we're going to have some of the wild wasabi. So I'm just using my sponge that's got the green tag on it. And I'm just going to dab off slightly. And then start introducing the green just inside where I've done the lemon lime twist. And it just takes a bit of time to build that colour up and to start seeing the darker colour blend in. So don't give up, just keep adding the colour and adding the colour. And eventually you will see that darker colour coming through. So the cardstock I'm using here is the Springtime Foils that's available for free with a £45 spend. There we go, I'm really starting to see that darker green coming through now. Now a little tip on this, when I did this class the other day, I had a lady who, after she'd sponged all her card, she realised that there were kind of fingerprints at the sides, and I think it's because it's quite a glossy paper, and if you've got oils, or if you've moisturised your fingers that day and you're holding down quite firmly on the cardstock, the oils transfer onto the card, and then when you go to put the ink over the top, it almost creates a bit of a resist. So if you know that perhaps your fingers are oily or you haven't washed them recently, then perhaps use a piece of the paper that you're sponging on just to hold it in place so you don't transfer your oils to the fingers. I can already see there's a little bit of a mark there, I think, where I was holding quite firmly. Okay, so this is now Bermuda Bay, which is a gorgeous kind of like bluey greeny colour. It's one of my favourite colours. It just kind of reminds me of the sea, and right, you can see that colour is starting to build up more and more. Okay, I'm going to transfer now to the Night of Navy, and I don't want too much of this because that is actually going to be going there, so I just want the Night of Navy to surround the sentiment. So I'm going to start off in the middle and then work my way out so that I can control how much colour is going on. There we go. And just so that the white isn't so stark on my sentiment, I'm just going to add some lemon lime twist to the edge, in particularly the edge, but also bringing it into the centre. You could also cut it with lemon, you know, stamped it on lemon lime twist, but I actually quite like having it pale in the centre to carry on that kind of almost ombre effect then right through to the centre there. Right, well, I hope this was a useful little tutorial on, you know, colour schemes and how to choose colours, and hopefully give you a little bit more confidence in when you choose colours to use on your cards. And, you know, as the more you understand about colour, the more you'll kind of like spot how colour schemes are put together. I'm going to say one last word on colour schemes after I've stuck this down. So having this dark Night of Navy cardstock backing just makes this pop, I think. And then we'll just stick the sentiment on with some dimensionals. Yeah, you see I made a moo-boo on the other side. I pushed the stamp down too heavily, so that's why I reuse this side. There we go. Just a very, very simple card, really making use of our beautiful colours. Right, so the last thing I was going to say about the colour wheel was that when choosing colours for a card, I always try and stick to about 3 colours, not to go too overboard. Now, I sometimes break that rule, I know, but generally I suggest you try and stick to 3-ish. What's really fun sometimes is to use 2 colours that are next to each other on the colour wheel and then one opposite. So yellow and green with a purple can look fantastic. You know, bluey and green colour with an orange. So once you get your colour wheel printed out, do have a play with you know, combining different colours and see what happens. Right, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope that helps you, and don't forget to click that subscribe button and click on the bell as well if you want to be notified of future videos. Take care for now. Bye.